The animals are never females. They are always males. Which is an object of contention, of course, or should be, or will be in the future when these pictures are seriously examined from point of view of their significance. Because there have been people who made an argument that Çatalhöyük was probably an example of female religion, because of the picture that I will show you a little statuette at the end, but I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to interrupt my visitor. But these three men at the lower part, they seem to be contaminated with the mood of the thing, and do the same type of teasing and baiting on one of them, or two of them, as they do with the animal. Which is an amazing thing, as if some form of drunkenness were taking over, or some kind of sexual orgy or something, which is quite good. So the question is, what does it mean? You know? I should really look at my pictures. I don't want to forget. So the second picture is very much like the first, but could you go back to the thing? If you look at the animal, it's really very different. The horns are completely different. So look again at that picture very carefully with the man reaching for the front legs. We don't know what he does, you know. But we can see that some of these people, most of these people are not really armed, but the one who is pulling the tail of the animal has some kind of a sheath there that could be for holding a dagger. And I think it is what it is. The only efficient weapon that these people had were obsidian knives, short blades, very sharp, but very short. Therefore, they made it impossible to kill an animal of this size from any distance. And that is the reason, I think, that this type of, I call it hunting fighting, because, go to the next picture. If you, Ian Harder pays no attention to the fact, he considers it a teasing and baiting. But the man in the preceding picture who was reaching for the front leg of the animals had some very important intention. What he wanted to do, obviously, is what is done here, which is a cutting off of the ankles, probably with an obsidian knife. You could do that. They were probably extremely skillful with these things. And if the animal was deterred by the sexual teasing and baiting, the animal could kick off the men at their feet, trying to cut off their feet. But there would come a moment when one man, such as we had in the first picture, if we look only at the first picture, we cannot know what he's doing or trying to do. He seems to be, it's an indifferent part of the picture. But if we go back to the second, we can see this. I'm not saying that these pictures are in a sequence, that they are like a bunch of things, but what I'm saying, and I'm certain of, is that the technique, and it's a technique of killing the animal, not of teasing and baiting. The technique was highly ritualized. Therefore, you can rely, the previous picture represents an earlier moment in the hunting of the animal. In this part here, the hunting is over. The animal should already have fallen on its front legs, and there becomes totally vulnerable to the mob. The mob is never represented killing the animal, and it's probably one of the most daring things I say by supplying it. But the mob, obviously, when the animal is down, is going to rush on the animal. Therefore, we are tending here in mobbing of an animal. I'm sure that the mobbing of men is very important in the history of religion. But what I didn't suspect is that the mobbing of animal is the first form of sacrifice, in a way, of ritual sacrifice. But the ritual sacrifice is a ritual sacrifice and it's everything else at the same time, because these animals were eaten in big festivals. How can I go? We know that there were big festivals, which was the only occasion when wild venison was eaten. The rest of the time, they were eating sheep and goats. So they have found the results, the remains of this, and they think that when not enough animals were killed for these festivals, which maybe took place at precise moments, we don't know about that. We don't know enough. See, if there were not enough venison, they added domesticated animals. But the main thing was to eat. Therefore, it was a look toward the past. It was a passion of the past. Like, in a way, always necessary religion is. It's looking back. We don't know if we can say the Paleolithic. And the distinction between the Paleolithic, we know that the caves of Lascaux, Altamira, and all that, that's a Paleolithic. But some of them are 50,000 years BC. Some of them are, I think that Lascaux is 32 or something. So it's a great period. Times become shorter as one gets closer to the present. More things happen, or at least we believe that. But it may look back, you see, these big festivals, they may go back to the Paleolithic, since the domestic animals were, in theory, excluded from them. When we think in modern terms, this is Neolithic, they invented domestication of animals, they grew the first cereals, and we expect to see fields with little sheep and goats frolicking, in the grass and so forth. No, the wild animals were more important. The problem that the domesticated animals solved, undoubtedly, is not mentioned anywhere or visible anywhere in the culture. Nevertheless, today we can be sure, when you look at the refuse, which is the evidence par excellence in that period, we know that the meat of domesticated animals dominates. In the iconography, in all the images we have of the place, sculpture and so forth, we don't have one domesticated animal. The domesticated animal maybe without hardly realizing it. And it solved the big problem, no doubt. But anyway, the imagination looked towards the wild. Undoubtedly. But in order to understand that teasing and baiting cannot be a definition, that it's really hunting, it's really killing the animal, it's really a technique of hunting that we have here, and we could say that the first thing to consider is the economic or the technological aspect, which is the lack